What's going on, y'all? I've got some pretty significant buffs, changes, and reworks for the Dragonair line, or rather Dragonite line. The reason I said Dragonair is because Dragonair is now, alongside pretty much every other middle stage pseudo-evolution or pseudo-legendary mid-evolution, is genuinely a viable option over its evolved counterpart. And I know a lot of people will be happy about this specific instance because Dragonair is a really cool Pokemon. A lot of people are disappointed with how Dragonite looks. I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't hate Dragonite though. I think it's a fine Pokemon. I did remove Multiscale. I replaced it with two cooler and more fitting abilities, in my opinion. Multiscale is kind of boring. I don't like the way it plays on Dragonite too much, especially in a ROM hack like this. I feel like it would be kind of easy late game to just get off Dragonite with Roost and just kind of go to town. Not that it's that crazy. I mean, there's still a lot of other anti-setup things put into place, like priority phasing moves and other stuff that the AI can use against you to prevent you from setting up and stuff. But I don't know. I just think Multiscale is kind of boring. There's a bunch of other new Pokemon with the ability Multiscale and the ability Energy Shield, which functions just like Multiscale. So, you know, you can go ahead and use them if you want a Multiscale mon. I think Drizzle and Airlate are a lot more fun. And then Dragonair with Regenerator over Airlate is super sick. Logically, it's not like the most obviously fitting ability for Dragonair on the planet, but it is a fitting one. I think that anything with Shed Skin, you can make a case that it can get Regenerator. And in a ROM hack like this, it's very nice to have, you know, a defensive ability like Regenerator, especially on a Violate Dragonair with all of this newfound bulk as a pure Dragon type. It's, like I said earlier in the video, genuinely a very viable option. It'll evolve at 45, which is how all the pseudos evolve, or at least all the 3-stage ones evolve. So even in from 25 to 45, you can use Regenerator, and if you evolve instantly, you evolve instantly. But if you don't, then, you know, you can continue using a Violite Dragonair for the rest of the game up until the very end, and it's totally a good option. It's also why I gave a Parting Shot, which isn't like the most fitting move in the game, but in a difficult ROM hack like this with all types of crazy offensive Pokemon running around, Parting Shot is a very, you know, reasonable thing to give to a lot of Pokemon. It's kind of necessary. Dragonite and Dragonair both get Drizzle, which is a very fitting ability. These are like marine type Pokemon. If you read the Pokedex, it talks about how like a lot of them are involved with the sea. Specifically, Dragonair is said to be able to, like, to literally control and alter the weather. So Drizzle is extremely fitting. Like literally all the dex entries talk about how it changes the weather conditions in its vicinity, while Dragonite is most still like a seafaring Pokemon, so I like Drizzle on both of them. It gives them, you know, that water type triple stab with Dragon Flying and Water on Dragonite and Dragon and Water on Dragonair. I didn't make them Dragon Water types because there's actually a decent amount of those, and I just think that Pure Dragon's a bit more unique. The only pure Dragon types in the hack are Shelgon and Dragonair, which are Violite viable middle evolutions, and then Druddigon. So I think it's pretty unique to have Dragonair there as a pure dragon. It also has good resistances as a pure dragon type, and, you know, good attributes as a whole. It's very, very tanky with the Violite, so it's totally a fun option. And then you can use that infinite usability capsule with Drizzle whenever you need the team support from Rain, if you want to override the opponent's weather, if you want to get that, you know, Rain boost, if you want to get Rain boost on your your allies, you know, with all of the new Rain abilities. And Weather Ball being on like every single Pokemon as a TM means that you can use water type coverage moves on all your special attackers with Weather Ball. You could decrease the damage from fire type moves. You know, there's more applications to Drizzle than literally just, oh, I'm going to add a Swift Sim Pokemon now. Especially if you're doing a Team Lock and Nuzlocke, I've balanced all Pokemon to have two useful abilities to switch between with that infinite usability capsule, as well as most Pokemon can really take advantage of the infinite and instantaneous EV training system that's put into place in this hack. So because Dragonite, and not Dragonite, but mostly Dragonite is a mixed attacker, you can use mixed attacking sets, physical attacking sets and special attacking sets depending on the situation. You can just swap around your EVs. Dragonite is also much bulkier now, despite losing -5 and -10 SPDF. That big HP boost does make it overall a lot bulkier, which is another reason I dropped the attack stat. I also think that 120 base attack just fits his design a lot more. I also just wanted him to be more of a mixed attacker, so I wanted his offenses to be closer together, especially because with Drizzle you have stuff like Hurricane and Thunder and stuff like that, and Hydro Pump and Surf and all this fun stuff. While with Airlate, you know, you have the obvious, yes, you have E-Speed. It's only a level 65 that will only be for like the end of Pony Island and the end of the game, so it's not anything like that would focus on too much. And there's also way crazier priority moves in this hack. Pretty much every single Pokemon in the game gets a strong priority move by level up and via TM and Tutor. Dragonite has tons of them. You have Draco Jet, Twister, First Impression, Sucker Punch, Bubble Shot, Aqua Jet, E-Speed, I mean Gust. The list, you know, goes on and on. So not like E-Speed is anything too incredible. It is good, obviously, especially in a bulkier Pokemon like this, and it's still very strong physically despite the attack drop. but I would say special and physical sets are very equal now because of this. Aerolite also has other applications, so tons of others. So not only is it useful to have Aerolite purely because it's not Drizzle, meaning you're using Dragonite and you don't want the rain out for whatever reason. Maybe you want to use a fire type coverage move for that boss fight. Maybe you have another strategy planned with a different weather, or in general, the weather would just hinder your strategy in some regard. You can use Aerolite. You have tons of great options with that. You have Giga Impact and Hyper Beam, which both function like Draco Meteor now in this hack. So Giga Impact and Hyper Beam are both 160 base power moves that drop your attack and special attack by -2. Dragon Ascent is also the same thing as Giga Impact. It's Dragon type version of, it's basically like a physical Draco Meteor, right? So that's super strong. Dragon Rush is Dragon type close combat. Draconic Beam at level 70, which is the very end of the hack, is an absolute nuke, but it is a late game option. But it's very cool with like Aeroblast, for example, because Aeroblast will always crit, ignoring the -4 special attack drop from Draconic Beam, which is just an upgraded version of Draco Meteor. Not explicitly an upgraded version because it does have less PP, but it is stronger by a lot. So that's all really fun. By the way, if you're a new viewer here, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to check out that Google Sheet linked right down below in the description. There are all types of incredible move buffs and changes in this hack. They are extremely in-depth, much more than your typical ROM hack, so please do give those a look. That's super important. But yeah, Dragonair also has access to reliable recovery in the form of Rehydrate, and of course Dragonite still has Roost via TM. Other Aerolite options include Rage, which will give you +1 attack each time you click it, assuming you got attacked that turn. So you can use that in conjunction with Roost, and that is now 96 base power with Aerolite, 80 base power otherwise. So that's a really good TM. Retaliate is a very consistent drawback-free physical flying stab option with Aerolite. It becomes 114 base power, while Dueling Beat is only 90 overall. Not that that's weak, that's totally strong enough and is a great option, but if you want that extra power, you could use Acrobatics without an item, or even better, Retaliate with Aerolite. So that's all super fun. You also get, like I said, Giga Impact and Hyper Beam, which are 192 base power with Aerolite. Those are absurdly powerful. They outdamage pretty much every other move, even when you use it twice in a row. So, for example, 2 Giga Impacts in a row is significantly stronger than even something like 2 Dual Wing Beats in a row. 2 Dive Bombs in a row is also pretty great. Dive Bomb is a flying type version of a Jump Kick, so that's a really good flying stab option for physical. Special, of course, you have a million awesome ones, especially Hurricane with Drizzle. But if you don't want that rain up, you can use Aerolite Hyper Beam. You can also use a mixed set, for example, a special attacking set with Giga Impact or a physical attacking set with Hyper Beam are really good because you can, kill something and then go ahead and use your other attacking stat. So that's a really good thing that mixed attackers can do in this hack as well. Yeah, he's got incredible move pull options. Bulk Up with Aerolite E-Speed late game is very strong. SD with Aerolite E-Speed is very strong. Calm Mind is very nice with Roost and Drizzle or Aerolite. You've got pretty much all the setup moves you could really ever want. Not that setup is the best thing in the world in this hack, although Dragonite does have a first impression resistance, which is pretty valuable. In general, he's still going to be checked by quite a few things. But yeah, overall, very fitting abilities. Drizzle is perfect for them, and then Aerolite is very fitting for Dragonite. I like it more. Also, Skull Bash is super sick. Skull Bash will give you a +1 attack, defense, and accuracy boost now, and that is a 90 base power move that always crits. So with Aerolite, that goes from 90 to 135 with the crit, and then 135 times 1.2. It is 162 base power. So you use Power Herb Skull Bash, now you have a free coil boost, and you have a very powerful attack. So it's kind of like a pseudo Z move in that regard, and you of course will get a boost from it. So it's a really, really cool and fun option. Definitely worth using. You can use that in conjunction with Rage and Roost, and you can become super tanky with max HP, max Spadef, for example. You can use that in conjunction with E-Speed even. Aerolite is a sick ability for Dragonite as well. And then, of course, on the Drizzle side, you have other water move options. On the physical side, you have Liquidation and Wave Crash and Aqua Tail, which are all buffed and changed. Well, Liquidation isn't. It might have a slightly higher chance to drop defense, but it's nothing important. But Wave Crash obviously is new, and it's just got so many fun things. Dragon Tail is awesome. Breaking Swipe is super useful, especially on Dragonair, because Breaking Swipe will always drop attack and special attack by -1. Same goes for Water Pulse and Ominous Wind in this case. And Mystical Fire, so you can teach any of those moves to debuff the opponent, and you can use that with Regenerator and Parting Shot and just be a great defensive pivot. And you also have a good special attack set on Dragonair as well at base 90. So yeah, for those Dragonair lovers, you can totally use them over Dragonite. For your Dragonite lovers, again, Dragonite is still incredible and totally worth using over Dragonair. It really just depends on your specific, preferences, your other teammates, what type of challenge run you're doing, your IVs, your IVs and your nature. For example, if you got better defensive IVs, you might want to use Dragonair, but Dragonite is still a great defensive Pokemon because of its great newfound bulk. 110, 90, 90 is very solid. Dragon and Flying has some very valuable resistances. So as a whole, these guys are super goated. very simple when you actually can ignore the fact that, yes, I dropped his attack, and a lot of people are going to be upset about that, but I really like him as a mixed attacker. I think it fits his vibe more, and it just makes him a lot more fun to play around with. And obviously, he's still a lot stronger with Aerolite, so yeah, on the physical side and special side. So yeah, thank you so much for listening. There's a couple other nuances and move buffs and changes that I don't have time to get into, so I highly recommend you just check those out in the description below. It would be very much worth your time to give those all a look. I'll be back for more coming up, y'all. I appreciate you listening as far into the video. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and appreciate it. Peace.